Boy, it's almost like I've been here before.
Mhm.
Only for how many hours?
Oh, 11 hours down, 11 hours to go. So
Wow.
we're halfway home. So yeah, my chair is screaming for help right now. I feel sorry for it. So
I'm
uh,
sure.
we're being joined by Suzanne and Les Simpson, a husband and wife team that focus on health, but in different ways. And Suzanne, let's go on ahead and get started with you. You are more and you're perfect for what we're talking about today, which is, of course, mental health with our veterans,
Right.
and those who choose to make the end of life decision. What are some of the things that maybe we should be watching for or looking at when it comes to someone we care about? Um, what are some of the signs that are telltale signs that we can do something?
Sure. I actually have a PowerPoint that gets into that. If you want, I can.
Yeah, please do. It's like I said, just that present button down there, and it should pop up for you.
Okay. And it just says slides. I see it. It says, oh, I have no slides. Okay. Can you see any slides right now?
Not yet.
Have you pulled up your PowerPoint, honey?
Yes, it's up. But I just, let me go back in. It says share slides. Okay, I went into present and then it says share screen. Maybe I need to go there first.
Yeah.
Share screen. Okay.
And it should pop up at my end, and I don't see it yet.
Um, can you see it now?
I do not see it now. I don't. Um,
Well, I can go back to it and just talk through it if that would help. Or let me see. It says Chrome tab, entire screen. Okay, that might do it. Can you see any bit of it now? There's a screen in front of it.
try it one last time and see what happens. I just cleared my queue, so hopefully that's going to help.
Okay, well, I'm on the present and it says entire screen, but there's a screen in front of it, and that's what. Okay, let me just get it.
Whoop! She got out of everything.
Yeah, she did.
So,
I'm sure
um,
she'll come right back in.
yeah, she'll be right back. Let me. Yeah, she goes to share screen. Maybe she'll need to go to window, or yeah, the entire screen or something to
Right.
see. We'll see what happens, but yeah. So Les, how are you doing?
There she is.
We got you back.
Okay, so then I go to present, and then I go to share screen, and it says share screen, and I do that, and then
Do
I
you
do.
see your PowerPoint where it says that?
Um, no, I don't. I just said
Okay,
share screen.
go to if you look up top on share screen, it should also have window and entire screen.
Yes, it does.
Okay, click on both of those until you find your PowerPoint.
Okay, I found it.
Okay,
Now,
now
if you
click on
click
it.
on it,
Well, I'm clicking. Let me go to window. Oh, I see. Well, I'm clicking on it, but nothing seems to come up yet.
um, let's see here. Did you hit the share button on the bottom?
I thought I did. Yeah, before I even started this. Let me get out of there and see if I can go
Yeah,
back.
if you click on it and then hit that share.
When she gets out of it, I don't know what's happening. She gets out of it.
Yeah. So
Okay, so
There
I'm
we go.
back to present and then share screen at the bottom. That's what I went to. And then share screen again. And then I go to
Yeah,
Window.
you have to click the PowerPoint and then hit the share again.
Oh, the PowerPoint first, maybe? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then click share.
Let me try that again. Okay. We'll get it here in a minute.
There we go. Whoa.
So I
Except for now I've got two of you instead of your PowerPoint.
okay, can you see it now?
No, unfortunately, I'm just going to have two of you. Instead of clicking on the PowerPoint, I think you clicked on your own picture. So,
Oh, I see. Can we?
yeah.
Okay, now we're and then sent, and then share screen. Share screen. See, there's something in front. Oh, and I'm hearing myself twice. Okay, I'm going out of there. Okay, there we go. Okay, come on. I'm clicking on the window with the PowerPoint. It doesn't seem to enter it.
Okay. Did you click on over? Okay. You click on where it says window.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you click on the window itself,
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
okay, and then a blue box comes around it.
Yeah, there's a blue box. Uh-huh.
Okay, and then you hit share, it's going to come up like
There you
this.
go.
So this one's mine,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay.
So yeah, that one's mine. But yeah, that's what it looks. That's how all that works. So, but now
Yeah,
I got to stop.
it's got the blue thing around it, but there's no share right now. There's nothing I can get to that
Down
says.
in the bottom, it doesn't say share
Well,
again.
it did before I got into this screen that said window and then entire screen. It did say share before. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand what's happening because when it goes to that blue box, the share button next to the cancel button on the bottom should take in and turn a solid blue.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go down all the way. Let me get back to this. Okay. See, I want to get back to that main area where I was. Let me just get out of this just a second.
We know we're getting closer.
Yep.
We know we're getting closer because we got it to where she was able to share her screen twice. So, all right. Now she's back with us.
Okay, so I go to present and then I see the share screen little. Do I first go to slides and then share screen or
Yes. Yes.
Okay, maybe that's it. From your computer. Okay, upload file. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, then I've got line from the beginning. Can you see anything now?
Not yet. No. Can you email it to me, Susan?
Sure.
Let me put my email address in the chat, and
Okay,
then
what
I
is
will.
that? Oh, what?
Over on the side, you'll see it pop up here in just a second.
Okay.
And over on the side, next to the private chat, there should be a little number that's on the very corner.
I can just copy it. I think.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Copy it. Yeah.
Yeah, copy it and email
Okay.
your PowerPoint time.
I'll get it right now to you. Okay.
Is
Here
it
we
on the way,
go.
honey?
All right. So
What?
here's this.
Okay, he got it.
Yeah,
Did you get?
I did. And here we go. Share screen. And then all I'll need you to do is just let me know when you want me to switch.
Okay. Well, let me just say the introduction that I wanted to say. I have been doing this type of work for almost 30 years. So I've collected a lot of good information around how to help people actually get to the root of where some of their emotional trauma is and how that affects families. So my next slide gets into some of the type, if you can turn, the next one really gets into some of the type of symptoms that people have when they've had emotional trauma, such as PTSD or just some kind of abuse that they received. It could be growing up in life. If they grew up in life with a lot of abuse, then the war zone make it even more amplified. And so some of the types of symptoms I see are, anger, it just outbursts where it's out of control and it doesn't seem to merit the situation the person's in, seems to kind of come out of the blue. But if anger is held inward, which a lot of times it is, and yet it depends. If the person wasn't feeling the freedom to be angry, then they would feel a lot of depression because that can be a byproduct of actually suppressing feelings. So I see, depression, anxiety typically shows up. Some of the patterns that I see also, I'll just kind of highlight what I see. Some of it has to do with conflict, obviously, marital conflict, where the conflicts can't seem to be resolved easily. There's a lot of kind of self condemnation. I'm bad, I'm not worthy, and they can't really feel purposeful and move into what it is. Maybe their purposes, they feel rather lethargic. So there's kind of a numbness that happens when you've had trauma. There's loss of control. Obviously, they didn't have much control when they were surviving a war zone. So that can affect them. And then they can't control people in their family. They can't control their spouse. They can't. So that can show up as well. And then a lot of times there's procrastination. People typically that fear failure or fear being good enough will procrastinate and never get anything done, never follow through. So that can all affect their job performance. You want to go to the next one?
Yep.
All right. So these are the kind of emotions that people typically have in the workplace or in a marriage. They may feel a lot of stress when they look at the computer and they see figures that don't agree with what they want in terms of maybe their company, or maybe if they're self-employed, then they might have a lot of panic about finances, about surviving, just in their job performance. There could be a lot of anxiety, which you see in the lady down on the bottom. And I'm not just focusing on men because women obviously have these effects as well. It could be the effect of being in a marriage where the spouse is angry and has a lot of frustration and outbursts, or it could be that they don't feel like they can make a living because their husband can't make a living, or the husband's just lethargic and numbed out, or they can be very angry as well. And that's the bottom slide on the right. So those are just the kind of emotions that I see. If you want to go to the next slide, it has to do with emotional triggers. So what happens with old emotions that are stored away, our body remembers, and people aren't aware of this. They think, oh, well, that was the past. But I think if anybody's in a marital situation with someone that has been a veteran, they know that these emotions just sometimes come out of the blue. And that can be because some situation in the present would trigger some of these old emotions. And they aren't aware that that old emotion is still there in the body. And so the body doesn't lie. It has record of all these negative events that have affected us. But that's a good way to be able to get to what it is. A lot of people walk around and their subconscious is about 95% of what they feel and what they believe, and 5% is more conscious. And until we're really triggered by something emotionally, we don't know what that 95% is, that under the iceberg. So it's kind of running on the back side, and then the conscious awareness is running on the front end. But in order to get to that, we have to have some kind of trigger that shows us that it's there, or we just know by the symptoms. Okay, so go to the next one. And this is what Brene Brown, who's a professional that speaks a lot to professional groups on emotions, she claims that we need to wake up that emotional numbness, because that's what's creating some of the painful reactions that we have, so that we can feel better. Positive emotions are a byproduct of not suppressing negative emotions. So being able to feel and to move through those emotions effectively, usually a person needs somebody to help them, maybe a trained therapist or someone in the, I guess, the veteran type situation with hospitals and things that have those tools to help them work through emotions, because it is difficult to start surfacing what's underneath the surface. Okay, so go to the next one. And some of these slides, I have references to my faith, because I do work a lot with some Christian type of values in my practice. So you'll see that a little bit. But this guy was one of the premiers of research that they found, and he wrote a book, The Biology of Belief. And he found that our genes are turned off and on by influences outside of the cells. And so many of these thought processes and beliefs are actually coded in our cells, in our DNA. And so they call that cellular memory. But he's one of the premiers that's discovered that. You can go back. Okay, so this just says, excuse me, that a lot of this is programmed in our brain or in our bodies. And so again, it doesn't just disappear because we're out of the war zone, or we're out of the influence of where these negative emotions were attained. So that's where we have to figure out how to get to that. So take the next slide, and that way we'll start exploring. Under this iceberg, we tend to have these belief patterns and formed emotional input from those beliefs. And that's the greatest challenge, because we typically can self-sabotage the things we really want in life because we're not even aware. In fact, I was just this afternoon, or earlier, I was writing an article for my newsletter and blog on this very thing, because there's so much percentage that's under that iceberg. And I'm going to talk about some of those in the next slide. You'll see what do we hold on to. Okay, so can you go to the next one? Okay, so we can hold on to some of these patterns of emotion, which have to do with fear, mistrust, I can't read my slide because it's so small. Unforgiveness. Is there anger? I've already mentioned that. Guilt. That might be a real important thing to hone into, because think of it as some of these people have witnessed their friends and guys that they were in the military with that have passed because of the war zone, and they have a survivor guilt. So that can be there many times. Or they could just have feelings of, I'm fearful all the time. I feel like something's going to come down on me, because they lived with constant fear. And so all of that tends to show its ugly head at times. And I think the more sensitive family members can be to these silent saboteurs that are under the surface there, under the iceberg, it would be more beneficial for them to not take it personally or not feel like I'll never get my husband back, or I'll never get my marriage back, because this all can be dealt with. But it does need some skilled people to help them move through that. They're not going to usually move through it on their own, but I have found some tools that are effective. So go to the next slide, and I'll share a few of the tools. And so sometimes in our past, we have defined moments that we experience that are bigger than life. You know, it could have been the way we were raised. It could have been watching parents not get along or having difficulty as a child with some type of abuse that we experience. Or it can just be the grief and the loss of what we thought our life would give us. It can be the grief from losing people in our life. People don't realize that grief is something that we need to face, don't need to avoid it, because when we avoid it, it just doesn't go away. Um, and it can be also, you know, dealing with a lack of forgiveness around someone. Maybe you've forgiven yourself or forgiven a person, but you haven't forgiven God, because why did I have to go through all this? Or, you know, not feeling grateful. So that can affect us as well. So go to the next one. And this is a tool that actually Les and I use, and he learned it first and shared it with me. And one of the psychologists that has done a lot of good work with people, Nathaniel Brandon, came up with this tool. And it's just a great journaling tool. Most people say, well, when I journal, I don't really know what to say or what to write. And if they have a little bit of a structure to it, it helps them move through these feelings. So if you start with, I'm feeling sad because, and you complete it 8 to 10 times, it will start to pull out of you more what's really there. It can be just sadness, but it could be around something in particular, around that area that you need to face. I'm sad because I grew up without a father, or I'm sad because I lost people, you know, that are dear to me. Whatever it is, if you start pulling out of yourself those feelings, it can go a long way to getting some of that trauma out of your body. And you can do this tool on your own. You don't have to have a therapist to help you with that. But I find it's a great little tool. And if you use it on a regular basis, it'll give you more self-awareness. And that's the goal here, is to have some self-awareness so that you're not just shoving everything under the carpet. And then the next tool has to do with energy work. And I'm going to share, we find that energy is stored, like I said, in our bodies. And if you'll go to the next slide, well, actually, this one is better to look at first. Okay, so because we do store this trauma, we might have certain ages that are life events. And it might not all be when we were, you know, dealing with a war zone, but it could be that our family had a big episode of loss of a child, let's say. Or it could be that we lost a parent, or we saw our parents fighting a lot, and that created a lot of fear. So this is just a timeline that helps you discover where some of this unresolved emotional input is coming from. And if you're more apt to get in touch with that, it can help tremendously, because then you can go back to that event, and then you can listen to whatever it is, the story that you might have developed in your mind, because we all make up stories. Excuse me. And it can be a perception, or it could be a real life event that is a story. But some of those perceptions are false, because even as a child, we can't interpret things well. It's mostly adults that can do it better. And so as a child, we see things and we see events that happen to us, and we take it very personal, like we did it or we caused it or we. So I think the more we can get in touch with when those events happened, it's easier to know how to work through that storyline. And that's what I'm going to talk about with this energy technique. Um, okay, so if you can go to the next slide, think through that method, which is called EFT. It stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Um, and it's not like positive thinking, which says, I'm going to think differently about this event. How many of you have learned that? You've learned, oh, I just need to think differently. And some actually therapists really work specifically with cognitive thought process. And it can be effective, but it's work. It's like I have to keep at it. I have to keep thinking right, and I have to muster up just the right thoughts every day and put those affirmations in. But yet, let's just say you're thinking right, but you're putting something in an old tank that has negative emotions. And so all of those negative are still there. But it might be good to write out something that says, I'm angry because I was abused, or I was angry because of what I went through in the war. And that way you start listening to what it is underneath, rather than just putting something positive in. There's nothing wrong with thinking positive. We know that even it's important to the mind has a tremendous impact on our emotions. But if we're only doing that and never kind of digging deep under that iceberg, then it can get us in trouble or get us stuck still, I guess is the best way to describe that. All right, so go on to the next one. Can you get to the next slide?
He did.
Okay. And this one is just, again, talking about why affirmations don't work very well. So, some people have tried to do that. And I think what they learned actually in some of these veteran hospitals is that type of therapy wasn't as effective as getting to the energetic hold that the person had on their emotions. And there's a guy named Gary Craig who spent some time working with a psychologist, and his name was Callahan, Dr. Callahan. And during the time he spent with him, he realized that the body had all these pressure points that could be tapped on that would literally release some of the emotional charge that the person was holding on to. So they worked with phobias. They worked with any type of upset. Maybe it was a fear of, the person couldn't swim, because they feared drowning, or every time they heard, I remember dating a guy that was a veteran, and he couldn't be around fireworks because of the sound, because every time he heard the sound of the fireworks, it would scare him, and it would remind him of being in the war zone. So what Gary Craig did is he spent a lot of time teaching how to work through these emotions on an energy level, because he observed Callahan and he found that if he just tapped on these little acupressure points, that there's a sequence of 9 of them. And by doing so, it's kind of like emotional acupuncture, because if anybody's had acupuncture, they know that they put needles in these particular acupressure points. And so when they started working with the tapping points, it was the same effect. There was a release of that energy that was being held in those meridians, which are throughout your whole body. There's a whole line of meridians that hold our emotional makeup. So this was just a wonderful little tool because he could teach it to people, and people could gain a lot of self-efficacy because they could learn to do it on their own. And he found that people that had these really strange phobias or concerns about, what was going to happen to them, that it began to dissipate. And they worked even with PTSD, which typically takes more of a clinician that knows how to deal with that, but it can be effective. And I think under the guidance of someone in particular that could help move them to those feelings. So that really kind of sums up. The last slide really just shows tapping on those points. Well, I'm still not there yet. Um, okay, so building new strongholds. Um, After you've tapped through these emotions, you can rebuild the pathways. That's when you can bring those positive affirmations in. That's when you can encourage people to see, okay, I don't have to fear that everything's going to be after me or everything is against me or I'm going to be left alone. That's a common one too, that people fear. I'm going to be alone, or no one will be with me because of my past or all of this emotional stuff that they're having to deal with. So then you build new pathways. And one of the people that talks about this is Caroline. Caroline Neese is one, and Carolyn Leaf is another. So these are two people that have written books on how to deal. Like one is about switch off and switch on my brain. Caroline Leaf, Leaf. So if you ever look her up, she's amazing because she talks about how the brain actually has to be rewired with new dendrites, because dendrites are part of that communication that comes through the brain. So the more you can rewire that, the better. And what happens in areas of trauma is that we hold that in the amygdala, which is the back part of the brain. So one of the things they found that can be very effective is gratitude. Is just focusing on what's great and what are you really thankful for. That can go a long way because it opens up the frontal cortex of the brain, and that's the part that connects with others relationally, connects God, connects with yourself. And if you can come from a place of gratitude, it can do amazing things to just help get through a lot of this trauma. All right, so the next one is about the next year. What is it you want? And this was an old slide, so I had 2020 on there, but what is it you want to see for your next year? This year is 2023, so what do you want to bring in? Do you want to bring in more contentment with your family life? Do you want to bring in a better job situation? Do you want to feel good just inwardly where you're not being triggered by all this negative trauma? Just think about that. What is it that I'm trying to create for this next year? Because we're already into almost the month of March, which is the third month, and by now we should know where we're headed and what new things we want to see happen. So I leave you with all of this because these are some of my tools that I've learned, and you can just see that I have several different methods. The emotional freedom technique is one of them that I've shared a lot about because that's actually one I can do with anyone. I can do it with couples, and you can see how you can deal with conflict that way by moving through your conflicts. But I also have some Christian mind-body type techniques, which is Splankna therapy, and heart sync is another method as well. And all of these basically are not, your traditional counseling tools that you'll see out there as easily. You may see EFT because it is more popular now. It's been out for about 20 years, I think. But I find are unique, and people seek me out because they find that they are compatible with some of their faith and their values that they want to be able to bring into their healing process. But even if they just want some sessions to deal with, their pain and to work through some of that, that's all very valuable, but not to just sit on it and let it harbor, because we know that it doesn't go away. It's still there. And I think if the more they realize we can have freedom and we can be feeling like a normal person that's going to have ebbs and flows, because we all do, but those times of negative downsides are going to be lessened. So thank you for having me today. Sorry about the technology. It took us a while, but my contact information is on that last slide there.
Here, let me go on ahead and put that back up.
Yeah, if you can, it's renewedlifecounseling.com. And if you can see it there, I have a practice in Littleton, Colorado, but I'm not limited because I do some of this online, which is great now that we have those tools to do it. So I do in person and online, and I can do a 30-minute consult with anyone that says, hey, I want to just see if it's a good fit and see if, some of the tools that you have might help me. So I'd love to meet you if that's the case, and you can call me at the number below, or you can email me as well. It's Suzanne at renewedlifecounseling.com.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Suzanne. That was very well put together. One of the things that were in there that it really touched me because of some of the studying I did yesterday was where it was talking about your own personal achievements. That being, and I can't remember exactly how it was put in there, but I know that that's an issue for some of our veterans when they leave, because they go from having like a higher rank than other people to where they're just a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't get the same respect they had before in the service because everyone else is the same exact person as they are.
Mm-hmm.
How problematic is that?
Well, I think there's two things that can be problematic. One, I think I mentioned that they feel kind of lethargic and like they don't have a purpose anymore. So they're not as active and not as maybe assertive as they had used to be. Because when you're under, a war zone, you're kind of in a fight, mode, which gives you a lot of cortisol. But I think when you get out, then that all can be depleted. So I guess what I would say is that tapping tool that I mentioned can be very valuable, because it actually will decrease cortisol levels, but increase the hormone that's important to feel good. It's DHEA, which is a hormone that adrenal glands need. And so the other point I would bring up is that, if they're on a spiritual path, they have to kind of understand that performance and reputation isn't entirely where they get their value. That they've learned to maybe perform well, or to achieve, like you said, some level of hierarchy in the service, but they don't necessarily have that in their working environment. So, I think my husband and I have learned that if our value is attached to perform, to be pretty defeated, because there are times in life when we just can't perform as well. And so I think learning where the value comes from, it doesn't come from everything you do. It comes from believing in yourself, knowing that you have a purpose, that God designed you a certain way to achieve, but not to get all your value from that. And to know how to work through that disconnect with thinking that I'm only good if I perform well.
Well, I want to thank you very much for sharing this with us, Susan. How do people, once again, people can get a hold of you by going, and if they would like, they can reach out to me and I will send them a copy of that.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah, so and then they can get a hold of you. So if you are so interested and you would like to learn more and talk to Susan, please reach out to us. We will connect you.
Great.
But again, thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So, Les, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine.
Um, You're here to talk about some devices that are going to make people feel a little bit better.
That's correct. And the because what it all has to do with is new technology. And I hope when I was on before, and I hope some of the veterans were able to get their practitioners on this call, because and the veterans can also introduce me to their practitioners, but I actually have a PowerPoint that goes through a lot. If we figure out we can get this one on, the because it all has to do with our microcirculation or capillary system. In fact, one of the things I really suggest everybody go get this book, Your Capillary Quotient by Carol Merlo. You can get it on Amazon for $12.95, because up to this point, your practitioners have not been able to work with the capillary system. And when I go into the PowerPoint, I'll explain why that is. So I guess I should try to share it, see if it's available. Okay, it says I have no slides, so I need to share, I guess, with a computer. Yeah, this is fun.
Now you know what I went through.
Yeah, share screen. Okay. Share screen. Let's see. Window. There it is. Let's see if it comes up. Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
You got it.
Good. All right.
You do need to go to the full slide of it.
Right, right. Can everybody see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First off, I have to play this disclaimer. Okay. The company I'm going to be talking about is BioRegenix. They actually own 6 companies, but the ones we're going to be talking about today is a camera called GlycoCheck and a supplement called Endocalyx, and how we're bringing this to the market for practitioners. First off, and this is the other company, Microvascular Health Solutions. First, I'm going to talk about this gentleman here. Now, did I send you the links for the videos?
Yeah, for the 3 videos, yes.
Okay. No, not those, the ones that on YouTube. What we might want to do is, I'm going to talk about this, but it'd be more advantageous to go to my website and play the video. And then I'll back it up with this. My website is 7waystoprofit.com. I'll stop sharing this right now. And then if we can play, and then we scroll down, I'll show you which. When we did it before, that one with Dr. Vink's picture on it, if you can play that. I guess I need to stop sharing here, right?
I'm going to say probably.
Okay. At least we know we can do it. And then on the, if you go to the website and let's scroll down to it.
Is it this one here or?
No, it's the 7 Ways to Profit. Not on your website. It's 7 Ways to Profit, my website. This is on your website.
No, this one's yours.
It
That
is?
looks- That looks like yours, Les. Wellness Tech Plus.
Yeah, that's not, I'm talking, did you go 7waystoprofit.com?
No, that's wellness.
Yeah, 7waystoprofit.com. It'll show the homepage of the,
Seven ways to profit.com says there is nothing there.
are you doing the number 7 or are you spelling
I
it out?
spelled it out.
No, it's the number 7.
Huh. We went back to wellnesstechplus.com or .now.site.
Okay, that's good enough. That's it. So scroll down from there. Yeah, it's a redirect to that site, now site. Much easier to do 7 Ways to Profit rather than have spell out all that.
I don't see which one.
Home. It's the first video. Scroll down a bit, and you'll see Dr. Vink's picture on it. Can you just show the website?
What's that?
Can you just show the website?
Yeah, this is the website.
This isn't the website. Not what I see. I see your contact information on your Pay It Forward.
Ah, okay. Well, hold on. I guess then.
There we go. Play
Right.
that video.
What's your health score? The score that identifies if you're at greater risk of the most troubling diseases and conditions. The score that signals that these diseases and conditions may be silently developing inside your body. The score that will help you understand how your body is alerting you with several early warning signs. For the first time, you're able to get an overall health score with a new, simple, and non-invasive test called GlycoCheck. It's a new patented technology, and the test can be easily performed in a healthcare practitioner's office. GlycoCheck gives you and your healthcare provider the one single number, a microvascular health score, that alerts you when trouble could be lurking deep inside your capillaries. The good news is that even if you have a poor score, you can easily improve your health. While you may look healthy on the outside, inside your microvascular system, a completely different situation could be unfolding. With the new discovery of a transparent lining in your capillaries called the glycocalyx, your health could be declining because that lining may be breaking down and becoming leaky, which can contribute to the advancement of many diseases that develop over time. Aging, poor diet, lack of exercise, genetics, stress, inflammation, and smoking can cause the glycocalyx to break down. In the past, there hasn't been a way to peer deep inside the microvascular system to observe the breakdown of the glycocalyx. But now, for the first time with GlycoCheck, It's possible to see live movement of red blood cells as they travel through microvessels. GlycoCheck was created out of the need to measure the microvascular system by world-renowned researcher Dr. Hans Vink. Dr. Vink began his intense study of the glycocalyx in 1989. Over the years, he has received many research grants and prestigious awards, all focused on the discovery and breakthrough understanding about the importance and clinical implications of the glycocalyx. He has authored or contributed to hundreds of scholarly papers and reviews. GlycoCheck works by simply placing a video microscope under the tongue for a few minutes to video record, analyze, and objectively report a single overall microvascular health score. GlycoCheck counts the number of blood vessels and capillaries and measures red blood cell concentration. It also measures flow rate and if and how deeply the blood cells penetrate into the protective glycocalyx gel lining, a sign of deterioration. GlycoCheck combines all these important measurements together to generate a single systemic microvascular health score. Lower scores indicate greater risk to the health of your organs. As the test is becoming more available, it can be administered in a healthcare practitioner's office. Each test includes a baseline score and video of the microvascular blood flow and tracks how, over time, the microvascular score declines with health deterioration or improves with therapy. Today, there are more than 85 ongoing clinical studies in more than 125 locations worldwide, such as Duke University, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, VA Hospital of Salt Lake City, Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, the University of Oxford, Mayo Clinic, Leiden University Medical Center, Steno Diabetes Center, University of Exeter, and dozens more. These respected research centers are all using GlycoCheck to confirm that a damaged glycocalyx contributes to several diseases and conditions, as well as the resulting complications from diabetes, stroke, septic shock, obesity, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, COVID-19, and other diseases. With GlycoCheck, now you can be tested and get the score that reveals the overall health of your microvascular system. With the results of your test, you will be in a better position to apply therapies and nutrition that can improve your microvascular health score.
Okay, now I'll go back to the PowerPoint.
Sorry about that.
All right.
So now you should be able to share yours.
Yep. Okay, so we've just found out about Dr. Vink. He's been at this 35 years, and he created the camera. And the camera has been now in 180 hospitals, and they've been doing all kinds of research on it, research hospitals. And now the camera is going to be available to all practitioners. And the reason for that is because of a software that was developed. It used to take doctors 3 days to, this microscope camera took 100,000 photographs, and that took the doctors 3 days to determine everything. With software development, we actually take 300,000 photographs in 3 to 5 minutes underneath the tongue, and the software does 100 million calculations. And because of that, any practitioner will be able to see how the microvascular system is doing in their patients. One of the tests that was done is every 39 seconds, somebody has a heart attack in the United States, and 40% of them are fatal. In fact, 70% of the people we call instant death. And with this camera, they've determined by the score that you saw there whether a person has a low, medium, or high risk of a heart attack within 6 years. And they did do a 6-year study. It's amazing what practitioners are going to be able to do for their patients now. Next is Bob Long. And to tell you the story of Bob, He lives in Salt Lake City, and he was out climbing a mountain one day outside his backyard, and he had heart pains, chest pains, and he went into the doctor's, and the doctor said, "Well, I think I know what it is. We're going to do exploratory and find out." And he came back for the test results, and the doctor says, "Well, I have some good news and bad news." He said, "What do you want first?" He says, "The good news." He says, "You don't have anything wrong with your heart." And he says, "Okay." He says, "What's the bad news?" He says, "Well, we're going to recommend 5 different medications for you." And he said, "How long am I going to have to take that?" He says, "The rest of your life." Well, Bob says, "Absolutely not. I'm not going to do that." And he had just sold a very large company. So he had all the money he needed and all the time. So he decided to start investigating things. And he went to the 5 blue zones, if you've ever heard of them. They're where people live more than 80, 90, 100 years old and are very healthy. And he developed a supplement to help the vascular system. And what was funny was he had no idea if it was working. And then he read about Dr. Vink and his camera. And so he thought he would kind of go there and not tell him anything about the supplement and find out what the camera said. So Dr. Vink met him, and he asked Bob some questions, what diet and so forth, and the standard American diet. And Dr. Vink says, "Well, we'll do the scan, but you're not going to like it." And so he did the scan, and he did the scan again, and he brought in an assistant to look over the machinery. And Bob says, "Is it that bad?" And Dr. Vink says, "Yours is better than ours. What are you doing?" And then they got into discussion about the supplement that he had developed, and they formed the partnership of microvascular health. And so that's where all this came from. They had the camera. Hospitals for years have been telling why disease starts, but they couldn't do anything about it. Now with a supplement, they can actually reverse it. And this is what the new one looks like. All you do is stick this underneath your tongue, and the computer is here, and a doctor can tell you in 5 minutes what your microscopic health is worth. And now, when people ask us all the time, is this new? No. As you can see, all these hospitals, 180 of them worldwide, have been doing studies on this for over 10 years. These are the things they've found to show the start of them. By the breakdown of the glycocalyx, these things start. And so doctors, and it's all systemic. If you have this problem, you have them all. Now, for those people out there that want to check out all of this, please go to glycocheck.com, and it will show you research on all these different things, and that the fact the camera found them, that the glycocalyx was broken down before these started. And now, this is the part that's interesting. I doubt if you've had your doctor talk to you about the capillary system.
No.
Last time you heard the capillary system was probably in biology. Were you going to say something, Zach?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with you. No, there's never been a doctor talk to me about my capillaries. My smoking and my fat butt are all that my doctor talks to me about. So,
And the reason is this: when you ask the average person what their vascular system consists of, they will tell you your heart, your arteries, and your veins. And the reason the doctor talks about that is that's all he can work with. That's 1% of your vascular system. Now you'll ask, why can't they work with the capillaries? Well, a 4-micron capillary that we're going to be talking about today, 200 of them will fit inside your hair. So you tell me what doctor can take that little tiny thing and work with it. They can't. And up to this point, they couldn't at all. So after 30 years of research, we've found the thing that allows the capillary to break down. And I'm going to play this video. This is your actual red blood cells running through your capillaries. And the capillary inside is the endothelial glycocalyx. And as long as this is working, and that means keeping it separate away from this wall, then it delivers nutrients, hormones, and oxygen, and it removes the waste and carbon dioxide. But when we don't have sleep, when we have bad diets, when we have stress, when we smoke, we break down the glycocalyx. The body cannot keep up with it to try to repair it. And so that's where all these diseases start. Now, this is what it looks like. This is what a healthy glycocalyx looks like inside. As you can see, it has all kinds of hairs. What these hairs do is 3 things. Number one, if you ever heard of nitric oxide in the capillary system allows blood to flow. I won't go into too much detail there. I'll be glad to explain it later. Second, this is the side of the capillary. It's only 1 cell thick. And so if the glycocalyx is damaged, then what happens is this lining gets scratched. When that happens, it's a scab forms and it's called plaque. And then nothing can work. All it does is cause inflammation. And the third thing this does is it filters all of the good stuff or the bad stuff coming from the blood through here. It stops all the bad stuff and allows the nutrients and the oxygen to go through and the waste to come back out. Otherwise, it's a guard. Well, again, if this isn't here, all the organs start breaking down. So this, as we age, diet, disease, genetics, smoking, and stress, this glycocalyx gradually gets broken down. And this is a healthy capillary. This is unhealthy capillary. Watch them. As you see, this doesn't touch the wall at all. This here is rubbing the wall all the time, completely destroying everything and damaging. And actually, once all that glycocalyx is destroyed, all of the liquids inside of the capillary goes into the tissues, causing edema. And these are the early warning signs. If you have these, you really need to introduce this to your doctor. And new research has shown a weakened glycocalyx. Again, these are once the warning signs happen, these are the serious diseases that develop. And this shows the spiral of conditions. First off, the glycocalyx inside breaks down. When that happens, the cell can't feed itself. There's nothing coming to the cell. And so it doesn't get oxygen, it doesn't get rid of waste. And so now the cells start breaking down, and then the organs follow it. And gradually, critical organs fail, and of course, death occurs. And this little device is the answer to everything. Stick this under the tongue for 3 to 5 minutes, and 25 minutes later, it produces this report. And this is what the live cells that you'll see with the glycocalyx underneath your tongue. Just think about seeing your own capillary system.
Wow.
And this is what is so amazing. That camera takes 300,000 video clips in 5 minutes. All these little green lines, these are the video clips. It shows how much blood is flowing in each one of these tiny things, or these orange ones. And then it takes all of this information, does 100 million calculations, and now you get an idea why it was only in hospitals. because doctors had to put all this together and figure out what was happening here. Now with the software development, anybody can use it. And it produces these 3 reports, and I won't go into them, but anybody wants to contact me, feel free. But this is what is so important. This measures the red blood cells moving through the 4, 5, 6 microns. Now, when you read the book, Your Capillary Quotient, you'll understand that these are the ones that actually touch the cells. They're so tiny. This is the one, 4 microns, that 200 of them will fit inside your hair. Well, think about it. This is 4 microns. A red blood cell is 7 microns. So this red blood cell has to produce kind of a circus act. It has to squeeze itself through this 4 micron. Now, the reason that happens is when it squeezes itself, it's touching the glycocalyx and it's getting off all of its nutrients and oxygen. But if there's no glycocalyx, it's scratching the heck out of the surface of the capillary, destroying everything. And so that's why it's so important on these. And this is what it shows in the capillary itself. And this is another big one. If you're in sports or you do exercise, there's 2 types of capillary. One is a regular capillary capacity, and that's when you're walking across the floor or getting ready to run up a hill. Once you start running up the hill, if you don't have capillary reserve, you don't have any oxygen. That's when you huff and puff and so forth. So we work with sports people and so forth to increase their capillary reserve. If you're going to do heavy weights, once you start doing the heavy weights, you have to have capillary reserve, and you can't fake it. If it isn't there, you just push yourself and cause high blood pressure. And this is what it looks like inside the capillaries. When you push yourself, you have to have these other capillaries open to feed all the tissues. And this is where climbing a mountain, do you have the strength to go to the top? Then you have to have capillary reserve. And this also shows how far it gets to the end, because if it's not getting all the way through the end, then it can't carry all the nutrients with it. And this one I won't go into. That's a medical explanation. But here it's showing, again, healthy capillaries and how it breaks down. Healthy capillary and unhealthy capillaries. And all this is patented. And again, what we've got, and the Endocalyx Pro repairs that. And the way it does it is this. First off, it helps restore the glycocalyx matrix because your body needs support. Second, this regenerates the glycocalyx back to the healthy level. So this starts the process, this generates it back, and this protects it. So all your stress and so forth isn't going to destroy it again. And this here is unhealthy microcirculation. For instance, this is systemic throughout the entire body. If you have this, then all those different things are happening inside your organs. This is what happens after we had the endocalyx for 4 months. As you can see, the tremendous difference. We've restored the capillary system. And this is patented. And so we have a life-changing combination. And we're looking for 3 things: practitioner partners, doctors actually to use it and promote the products and technologies. We're looking for practitioner brand partners. These are the ones that support the practitioners. And what that consists of is you're going to sell the camera to them. Now, it took $22 million to develop this. They were going to sell it to the practitioners for $225,000. Needless to say, not too many practitioners would be able to have it. So any practitioner now can have it for $20,000. they pay $80 when they use the camera, and we charge $300. They charge $300 for the scan, so they make $220. Pretty good money, especially if they're doing 30 or 40 scans a week. The practitioner brand partner that set this doctor up, he gets $7 every time this practitioner uses the camera, and he gets $2,000 for selling it to the practitioner. He also gets $6 for every bottle of endocalyx. Now, all of that is support the practitioner. We don't want just salespeople. We want somebody that really wants to work with a doctor, help with their patients, educate them, and market. And then we have the independent brand partner. These are the recruiters, the trainers, the leaders, the ones that have all the connections in groups and so forth to educate these, to connect these. So we have 3 different levels. And this will show you how they're paid. The practitioner partner, there's multi-tiered affiliate program for practitioners if they want it. If their liability insurance doesn't allow it, then they just work with their patients. We've worked both things because we really want to work with practitioners, and they buy it for 50% off case lots of 12, and then they resell it and we provide them a website. After the first sale, they can send their clients to a website, and they still get 25%. And let's see. And that's what I was just saying, earn 25% on online orders. And turnkey system for the office, certification course. And we also now, they were only going to allow the camera to doctors. Now anybody can buy the camera, especially medical device salespeople, and take it into a practitioner, have them set up 10 patients. They make the $200 a scan, so they make $2,000, and the practitioner makes the 50% on the supplement, because some doctors can't have been hurt through COVID and don't have the credit to buy the camera, even though it's $20,000. And they $70 a year membership, and it's paid out monthly for the ones that buy online. The next one is practitioner brand partner, which I've already explained. They sell the camera for $2,000, and they train the practitioner or train somebody in there to train their clients. And we also suggest the practitioner give out that book, Your Capillary Quotient. And so they're the first contact for the practitioner, their complete support system. That's why we pay them so good. And we can't say more about the money, but if you take those numbers and multiply it, they can do a scan in 5 minutes. How many of those can they do a week on a going practice? And teach classes for the practice and also the patients. And keep statistics. In other words, we really want somebody that wants to work with doctors, not just sell cameras. And the independent brand partner, they're once they set up enough people to help practitioners, they actually get into revenue share, up to 9% or a 9% of the company's profit sharing. And we're going worldwide, so you can imagine what that looks like. And leave a legacy to their families. And get the book, Capillary Quotient, and independent brand partner. And this is my contact information, along with a website. Website redirect 7 Ways to Profit, and my email and phone number. And let's see, I'll stop sharing here. So what questions? I know you don't have a live people can't ask live questions, right? You're muted.
I think the one thing that is going to interest people is that on the 8th, we are going to try to get the inventor of the of the camera on, correct?
No, that's a different person. That's the inventor of the German medical devices.
Oh, okay, okay. So I think that that's going to be really insightful. So we definitely ask people to join us on the 8th. Um, so all you really wanting to talk to our doctors and try to get them to talk to you, and uh, this will find a way, or this machine will help them find the way to a happy, healthy life, right?
Correct. And the one thing is, and I was just on another one, so I might have already mentioned that. Pardon me if I did. But one of the studies in the hospital, a 6-year study, if a person gets on the camera, we found that if they get, we can tell a low, medium, or high risk of a heart attack within 6 years. And if they get a real low score on the camera, they 90% chance they're going to have a heart attack within 6 years, or a stroke. And so this is real. If you introduce me to your doctor so he can give it, because every 39 seconds somebody has a heart attack, and their practitioner and their family had no idea they were that close. And this will actually show them. And that's one of the things the doctors are amazed at, is when they actually see what their capillaries are doing, people are now motivated to do something.
All right.
So let's, and that's another thing as far as another supplement is endogenics for the brain. It does 3 things for the brain, and it reestablishes the blood-brain barrier, which has a lot to do with emotion. And that's all I can say about it. And we have clinical trials proving it. And the other thing it does is it chelates all of the metals out of the brain, which also has a lot to do with emotion. And we have all kinds of clinical trials going with the VA. But again, our attorneys are trying to figure out how to bring all this in legally, because the FDA says we can't heal anything. And so all we can do is show you where the studies are. And I can send you to websites and you can look at all the studies. So anybody that's seriously interested in this, come aboard, because we're in soft launch right now. In April, we're going to be doing a lot of news releases. And right now, Dr. DeBrincat is in Chicago with 3 different doctor groups today. And in Atlanta, he's going to be there 2 days, and the camera manufacturer is going to be there for talking, treating, or educating doctors for 2 days. And so we're on the move, and we want partners to help us get there.
Well, that sounds great. I appreciate it. And we will be talking to, as I just mentioned, we'll be talking to a couple of the inventors of another program that another product that you guys have that helps people in other ways.
Yep, especially back injury, because veterans have a lot of back injuries, and there's technology from Germany that we're the exclusive provider of now worldwide. And hopefully they're going to be able to talk about it. And so if you have back injuries, again, get your practitioner on the line, the 8th.
Sounds good. All right, Les, I will talk to you soon. Thank you very much for joining us today. And again, if you're not feeling great, have your doctor get a hold of Les. This is new technology that can possibly help you start to feel a heck of a lot better. So, but thank you. Thank your wife very much.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good day.
Goodbye. We are now going to be joined by a veteran himself, and he is another partner, Mr. Larry Goldstein. Sorry about that, Larry. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing, Jim?
Yeah.
I thought I missed you. I just got back on. We're
We had, I'm sure you had it too. We just had, a ton of weather come through.
Yeah, it is. It's a whopping 7 degrees here right now.
Oh,
So we got a whole
we had
7 of
70
those
mile an hour.
things.
We had 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
So,
My very first guest at 2 o'clock this morning, he was having the same thing. So, yep. But yeah, 70 miles an hour. That's insane. We don't have much wind. We just only have a few degrees. That's our biggest problem. I know my dogs just walked in, and it kind of felt like there was a refrigerator that walked through the door. So, but Larry, you have a program that can help businesses simply by talking to you.
yes,
And as few as one W 2 employee can get them multiple thousands of dollars simply
yes,
by talking to you.
yes. In fact, I just got, because usually the singles get a few $1,000s. I just got a person with one employee qualified for the max of $26,000. Um, the crazy thing about this program is it's like with any program, you got your amateurs doing it and you got your professionals doing it. And I've had multiple businesses that were told no by their CPAs of all people. One example, I got a few examples, but just recently I had this restaurant locally in Sedona, Arizona, that was told by their CPA they cannot qualify. So they were going to bag it. They were, okay, well, I guess I don't qualify. And a friend of theirs, a local restaurant, told them about me. Make a long story short, she's now not getting zero. She's now getting over $300,000. Okay. There is crazy money out there for business owners. Must have W-2 employees. Sorry, contract people, you cannot. But anybody who has a business with W-2 employees, it's a conversation. It's a 10-minute conversation with me. The odds are I can get them money. People don't understand. The amateurs think that the only way you get qualified for this program is if your business just got crushed during COVID, which a lot did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's true. Revenue reduction is one way to get qualified. But I've gotten businesses qualified that they crushed it during COVID. Okay. Yet they still qualified because, one, they retained W-2 employees, but second, because they had supply chain issues. Okay. Supply chain issues are one of the ways you can qualify that has absolutely nothing to do with your revenue.
You can also get people money that started a business during COVID.
Any business with W-2 employees that started your business during COVID after February 15th of 20, I can get you money.
Yeah. And
I can get you money. Okay. I can get you money. And it's insane that I'm not getting the message out to enough people. Those aren't the ones that get the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I get someone $40,000, $50,000, $100,000. I mean, that's a fortune, to me, and again, I can help almost anybody, man. It's crazy. It's really, it's going away. So it's crazy that people don't at least make a phone call.
and this is what drives me crazy about it. Trying to talk to people is, I don't care if it's a $100 bill or a couple $1,000. As a business owner, you getting that revenue back to your company, back into your, just because you're doing what you do. Why in the hell wouldn't you want to have that conversation? That's
Well,
really,
I've even got businesses, a guy that would have never spoken to me. His business closed during COVID. He is shut down. He has history. His business no longer exists. Okay. But because I got a referral from the local Chamber of Commerce, he decided to talk to me. Totally skeptical. It's a waste of my time. $100,000 later. Okay.
he likes to talk to you now.
And now he's my best friend. Okay. I mean, and again, I can't get everybody qualified, but but 3 out of 4 businesses gotta have W-2 employees. 3 out of 4 businesses I can get qualified.
And here's one of the other things, Larry, that I love about this. And I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. How much money do you make if you cannot help them?
Absolutely not a penny.
Why in the hell wouldn't you do this?
Not a
I
penny.
mean, this is just me asking because, look, if I had a W-2 employee, well, truthfully, if I had an employee, my company would probably run better. One, but if I had any W-2 employees, there's no way in hell I wouldn't talk to this guy. But it doesn't have to be all gloom and doom. If you kept your business running during COVID, if you started your business during COVID, no matter the success of you, if there were other issues, this could be relief. This could be one of those things that, you know what, COVID caused problems. We know this. We're living this.
Mm-hmm.
This is a chance for you to take and get the help that you need.
It's EU. There's more. If you sold your business during COVID and kept the EIN, you can qualify. If you purchased a business and you purchased the debt and everything and purchased the EIN and they didn't file for this, you can qualify. It's just absolutely insane that people are going to miss out. And like I said, I'd get some people a few grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, which is still a ton of money. But I've gotten some businesses hundreds of thousands of dollars where they're like, oh my God, I've never seen this kind of money in my life. It's life-changing. And without referrals, because again, I'm honest as the day is long, there's a lot of bad people doing this gig. Okay, people that don't know what they're doing, people that charge a fortune. I tell about my fees from the start. No money, no money, no money until I can get you qualified. Once you're qualified, you have the option of whether to pay when you receive your money, and it's 15%, and that's it. Or if you want to pay the fees at time of approval, it's discounted to 10%. That's it. But I'm never going to ask you for a penny. I'm never going to ask you to sign a contract until I know I can get you money. Okay, so it's worth a few minutes of your time.
It's definitely worth a few minutes of your time, but here's the biggest thing is, you know what? It's worth the health of your business. It's worth the health of your personal economy, and it's worth the health of your family because, by God, you did the right thing. Let's make sure you get covered for it.
Well, that is the thing, because a lot of people, because they're honorable, they struggled and came out of their pocket, took loans to make sure that their people kept in business and then got money coming in. People living paycheck to paycheck. They deserve this. I mean, it's money, because again, I'm a conservative guy, military guy, all that good stuff. And, hey, IRS, I just want nothing to do with you, because that's where the money comes from. Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to piss it away somewhere else. You're not changing the world by not taking your share of this money. You're not changing anything that's going to happen except to help your family, all your employees, and your life.
Look, here's what's going to happen if you don't get the money that you deserve. There's going to be this new bill that's going to pass that is supposedly going to be helping somebody somewhere that's never going to see that money, but there's going to be a hell of a lot nicer suits being worn by, people in the government. This is just the truth. It's the way it goes. This is money that's earmarked for you, the people who are in business, small business. The major businesses, the ones that are always getting all the breaks, they're not eligible for this, correct?
If you have over 500 employees. Yeah. The big monsters don't. Yeah. No. Yeah. This is actually a time, and I've never said a good word about the IRS in my life, but this is actually a gig where it's like, wow, they're doing right. And one thing great about it is I do a lot of small business. I get some of the bigger ones, which are obviously bigger money for everybody. But, someone has 5, 6, 10, 15 employees that's local. We get the local people money, the money stays local, and it helps your local economies. So there's nothing bad about this at all. It is just insanity. And as you know, Zach, I mean, we'll say it straight up, portion of what I make, I'm supporting your cause. And I hope anyone who calls me through you, if I get them a ton of money, they'll help support your cause. It's finally taking money from the IRS and doing something besides nonsense. Okay, it's just well worth the conversation.
Who in the hell hasn't wanted to sit there at some point in time and really give somebody who's kind of been kicking you in the ass forever? Who hasn't wanted to turn the foot around and swift kick them right in the ass? Well, this is kind of what the IRS is allowing you to do. And
Well, they're
again,
putting their ass out there for you to kick. Okay.
yeah, that's it. I mean, it's they're walking around with the kick me sign on there that they put on their own back.
Well, and the crazy thing about it, and that's the problem. That's the only problem with it being from the IRS, because I have literally, I can tell you of a HVAC shop in Yuma that I got qualified for almost $200,000, and they're deciding they don't want to go through with it because they're afraid of the IRS, because this is too incredible. Because they're a business that thrived during COVID, yet they had major supply chain issues where they could have thrived even more. Kept employees, they are right there, they qualify. And they've had too many people tell them that, hey, they're going to come after you, and he's scared to death, and he's decided that he's going to trust his friends over the approval, and he's not going to take almost $200,000. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I can't think of any time in my life, Larry, where somebody would say, "Hey, here's $200,000," and I'm going to say, "No, no, there's got to be." And let's go on ahead and address his fear. Is there going to be any ramification from that?
Again, the fear is that the IRS is not again. And I hate saying the audit word, but you can get audited for anything. So he's worried about getting. Oh, well, I get audited this year doing my tax return. So can you? 184,000 new agents or whatever the heck it is. So that's always it. But if you're that worried, put the money in the bank for a couple of years, let it gain interest, and hey, when then spend it. God forbid. And I don't want to put any fear in people's eyes. I just like to tell the truth about everything. All the cards are on the table. This is money the IRS is offering you because you employ people. Okay? Period. How many people were out of work during COVID?
Yeah, and how many businesses do we know that, look, COVID, if it hasn't ruined them yet, they're still teetering on the edge. This is a chance for you to stand up and say, guess what? I'm tired of this teeter-totter. I'm done. And all you got to do is contact Larry, and you can contact him through us. When you do that, what happens is you get to you make money. If you don't make money, you don't lose money. Okay? That's the magic on this. If you don't make money, you don't lose money. There's no loss here. If you own a small business, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family to check this out, because it's free freaking money from the government. That does sound funny, though. You do have to admit it sounds funny.
Now, the money itself, again, I'm a full disclosure guy. The money itself is not taxable, okay? But you're going to have tax ramifications because of the other years that you're getting some money. So you will have to pay 10% or so. Have your CPA, he'll know what to do, but don't even stress it until after you get the money. But there is going to be some tax ramifications, not a ton of money. So it's not free, but it's pretty darn close. But it's owed to you, okay? It's there for you. It's money and like I said, I've gotten small businesses, with a handful of employees, $70,000, $80,000. If you got 12, 15, 20 employees, you're getting 6 digits probably. Again, can't say until we, run your numbers and we talk about all the ways you can qualify. but it's just a 5-minute phone call. I can know if it's worth pursuing. That's all it takes. A 5-minute phone call.
And I'm just going to reiterate one last time. There is no look. If you don't qualify, you don't pay the man anything.
Right.
Why wouldn't you check it out? There's the only thing that you have to lose is the chance of getting money.
And
So
real money, not
real
honey,
money.
take me out to dinner money. And this money, again, whether you got PPP or any of the other stimulus programs, you still qualify for this. PPP was specifically earmarked to pay your employees. This money, it's yours. Do what you want with it, okay? It was real quick. I just want to, again, and I need my paper in front of me just because there are so many ways to qualify, okay, that I forget about. So any of you people out there listening, think about your business. Okay, the first one that everyone knows about is revenue reduction. Okay, you had a 50% drop in quarterlies. Now this is quarter by quarter. Second, third, and fourth quarters in 20. First, second, third, and 21. When we do the receipts test, you're taking those quarters and you're just comparing them to the same quarter of 2019. So, example, second quarter of 20 versus second quarter of 19, if there's a 50% drop in gross, you qualify. Same with the other two quarters in 20. First, second, third, and 21, you compare it to the first, second to the second, and 19. If there's a 20% drop, you qualify. Okay? So that's based on revenue. That's the revenue reduction, the most basic way to qualify. Now I got other reasons.
And there's restaurants are some of the people that should be knocking down your door, right?
Well, restaurants qualify every which way but loose because they either had revenue reduction, and again, I'll talk it. They had reduction in services. They were closed down for the mandate. They were partially closed down for the mandate, and they're still having some of these, issues of getting supply chain. Okay, I mean, they can't even get eggs. We know this, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of a sudden, every chicken in the world became diseased or something. So, hey, Larry, I greatly appreciate that, but I want to talk a little bit personal, if you don't mind. You are a veteran. You served as you love to let us know, you served under Reagan.
Correct.
Have you had any friends out there that had issues when it came to separating from the service? Did you yourself? Was there ever any dark times with that, or?
Not me personally. I was blessed because I got to serve during a peacetime president, a president that knew what peace through strength meant. So I was as blessed can be. So I fortunately didn't have to see any combat. God bless all you guys out there protecting us. So I haven't personally had any issues with it. Again, my friend, now a lot of the NCOs and stuff, obviously, that I worked with when I was in the 80s, they were Vietnam vets. So obviously they had issues. Obviously Vietnam, they got hosed as much as possible. So I know they had some issues. Some of the guys were a little out there because it became absolutely obsessed with what they did. But I was blessed. So thank all you guys for serving. But I have not. I fortunately, knock on wood, don't know anybody personally that had major issues.
Well, we're doing this because and during the last hour, I mean, I made it as clear as I possibly could, and it seems to me like this is something that it comes around every once in a while, and it's just a situation that this is a hell of a lot more important than this. These are individuals who gave up their life. They came out of high school generally, and before they could even become adults, they were trained to become weapons. They didn't have that opportunity to learn how to adjust to civilization,
Right.
the civilian life, because they went straight from being ranked and having order and having everything in line, to the world that we live in, which is all chaotic and crooked. It truly is. And the some of the other things that I've read, and this is one that I kind of wanted to get your opinion on. One of the reasons that it was listed in something that I read in preparation was that these that some of these kids, when they get out of there, and I shouldn't call them kids, because they've done more with their life than I've ever done, but these individuals, when they come out of the service, they go to apply for jobs that they were doing in the service, and they get told, sorry, you don't have a degree, you're not qualified. How asinine is that? I mean, if you're working in some of the most technologically advanced equipment that the United States military has, shouldn't that kind of bump you up over a master's degree?
I agree 1,000%. Again, you want to talk about me personally? I did flight operations in a Cobra unit when I was over in the service, and when I got out, I wanted to get into aviation, and I would just had to go in the back of the bus just like everybody else. I had, you figure most of your work, like when you go to a university and then you get a job, well, all your education is on the job training. Once you're just learning, you just learned how to learn in college. And the guys that come out of the service, who's more ready to work than these guys? Who's more ready to train, to listen, to take their training, to listen to your training? They know how to be disciplined people, not like the young kids of today that have no discipline, they have no honor. Again, a guy out of the service, even if he's not going into something that was his MOS, he knows how to learn. And he knows how to not talk smack and just shut up and listen and learn. And it's insane. It's insane that every guy, when it's time for them to get out and want to get into civilian life, that people aren't just jumping on them, whether they know what their business is or not. These are just trained, disciplined men. What else do you want in your business?
It really was, it's really something that bugs me, that we send these kids out to do things that they may not even be, psychologically ready for. In some of these areas, they just, there's stuff that there's a potential for them to see stuff that they just couldn't be ready for. And they get themselves put in the middle of danger. Yet when they come home, we treat them like, well, what the hell do you know? Why are you coming to me without the required stuff? Well, they've done more than you've done. They've paid a due more than you'll ever pay. One of my favorite patches, and I think you'll get a kick out of this one, is no veteran should ever have to pay property tax. I 1,000% believe in that, because you know what? They put their ass on the line.
There's no doubt. The money our government pisses away on nonsense, on stupidity, and they can't take care of the ones that we only have the country because of. Yeah. I mean, where there's absolutely no logic in what they do. And, it's just, you can ask the questions all day long, and there's really no real answer, because how can you answer that? You're wrong as wrong can be. If you're going to take care of anybody, you take care of those that took care of you, that put their asses on the line, might have lost their lives to keep you in the life you're leading. And then you want to come home. They want them to finally come home where they can relax and take a breath and not give them any extra perks. Where's the logic? There's no logic. It's just, God bless everyone who serves. They're protecting us. And when they come home, they know the meaning of life more than most do, because they've seen what life is outside of this country. They've seen people that that every day is a struggle.
Yeah.
This country cries over everything. We're worried more about teaching boys how to be girls than teaching boys how to be men. It's insane, and that's the ugly truth. It's crazy, man.
There's so much that you're right, and I absolutely agree with you. There's so many things that everyone everywhere is focused on. We're focused on taking away freedoms, which just pisses me off to no end. We're focused on doing all these other things, yet the people who were out there to defend the right to take away those freedoms, we're forgetting about them. They're the ones who went out there and made sure that our government can get away with some of the stupid, crooked stuff that they do, because they allow our government to run the way it does, but that's because they allow us to live the life that we live. And the people that were supposed to be taken care of, a lot of times are the ones that just get completely forgotten about, and it's infuriating. And we will be sitting here in this chair every 22nd, as long as February 22nd, as long as I can sit down. And if I get much fatter, I can't stand up. So I'll probably be here, but I'll be here for 22 hours as long as we lose one. And unfortunately, we're losing a hell of a lot more than just one a day. Larry, I appreciate your service, my friend. I appreciate everything that you do. Once again, you can get a hold of Larry by going to his landing page on our site, and it directs you right to him. All you got to do is go talk to him. If you own a business, talk to him. Not going to charge you unless he gets you more money than what you're getting. Okay, or than he gets a hell of a lot more. So,
It's absolutely insane that every business isn't aware of how to get this, how to get it fairly, how to get it by not getting charged an arm and a leg, and how to get every dollar you got coming to you. Again, I'm a very conservative person, not a big fan of the IRS, but this time, they're doing right. I mean, I've saved so many. I got saved businesses. It's a wonderful feeling. I just got to call a lady up today and told her that she qualified for $200,000, and my only worry was that she was going to fall off her chair and break her neck. Okay, because I made her day. She's like, "There's just no way you're serious, guys. I can help you. Small businesses, medium business, just call me. Again, must have W-2. All you guys out there that are 1099, unfortunately, this isn't for you. But regardless of any other stimulus program you might have received, this is still available. So, love to chat with you, make a new friend, and hopefully get you a nice check.
And help a lot of deserving people along the way. So, Larry, again, thank you very much. Sorry about the delay on getting you on. We had technical difficulties at the beginning of the hour, at the beginning of the segment, so it ran over. So, but my friend, thank you very much for your service. Thank you for everything you do, and I'll talk to you soon.
Well, thanks for all you do trying to help the good people, man. Thank you, brother.
Hey, man, I'm only doing what I can do because they've done what they've done. So, thank you.
All right, take care. Thanks.
All right. Well, we are coming to the end of the 7th segment. 7 segments down. It's a lot of segments. That's almost as... I almost need another hand to count the segments. This is nice. But the mission still has not changed. We would like to ask you really quickly for one thing, and that's your support. You can support what we're doing, and all donations that we receive today, and there's 2 ways you can donate. Okay. The first way to donate, well, actually, there's 4 different ways you can donate. One is through our fantastic friend Stephanie Samos and our One Hope Wine program. You scan any of the QR codes behind me. I guess they're there. Fingers not working right no more. You choose the organization you wish to sponsor. You scan their code. When you scan their code, it goes to the available wines. Buy their wines through that code, and that organization gets 10% of everything of the wines that you buy. So you just say, you know what, I want to support GI Josie right here. I'm going to scan this code. GI Josie helps our female veterans deal with day-to-day life after all the stuff that they may have had to deal with in the service. You buy, we're just going to say 5 bottles of wine. You spend $100. GI Josie gets $10. GI Josie gets 100% of everything that One Hope Wine sends us. Community Pay It Forward gets zero, none, nada. I don't do this. I haven't teamed with Stephanie to make money. We've teamed with Stephanie to make a difference. So there's no money coming our way on this. Okay, none. You can also revisit and rewatch the third segment today, which is a replay of the Mardi Gras cooking. Carolyn Rasmussen live on, recorded online. And anything that you buy from Pampered Chef using this, the code that is available on there, we get a portion of that money, and it's going to be split 8 different ways between all of these organizations. All of these organizations has something to do with veterans. You've heard from a couple of them. You're going to hear from a couple more here in a little bit. So, look, the thing is, that's just 2 ways. The other way is you can go to the website, and it's communitypayitforward.us. Once again, that's communitypayitforward.us. Go to the website. You see it right here. Click on this little button, make a donation, and in the comments section, just put community mission to Rescue 22, and every penny of it will go towards the 8 organizations now. We unfortunately had one of them drop out. 8 organizations. It's going to go divided in between them all evenly. Okay? All you got to do is, if you want to donate here. The easiest and most productive way for you to donate to this mission, click here, our verified giving partners. You can go here and say, you know what? I need some bookkeeping services. I listened. Come on. Oh, it didn't change. It didn't change. But I listened to Sandy Abate today. She was on earlier. She talked about what she wants to do with when it comes to helping people out. I liked what she said. So I'm going to hire Sandy Abate to do my books. When you say, Sandy, I was introduced to you through Community Pay It Forward, Sandy's going to send us a referral award for the work that she does for you. Then you get to tell us where you want that money to go. You can either choose Community Mission to Rescue 22, or you can go here to the mission, here to the Mission Partners tab. You can look down here. 501c3s, nonprofits, and charity work. Animal missions, Community Cares Cub Club. This is our kids club. Kids who are trying to raise money for school, church programs, or find themselves sick or injured. Community Dare to Cares outreach and events. This is another one of our programs where we take in donations of clothing, housewares, furniture when we can. and all these other things, and we give them to people for free. We do not charge them for your items. You've donated your items. You know what? We're going to make sure that they get to the people who need them. Families, neighborhoods, are families and neighbors who are in need of help. These are just people who have fallen on hard times and they just need a little bit of help up. All we ask you to do is shop with our partners, and you can provide them with that hand up. Healthy mind, body, and soul. This is programs like we were talking about earlier that help people like Healing Warriors, that offers free medical care to our veterans, free non-prescription medical care. Honoring our heroes, both country and community. Enough said. Fire, and I'm going to talk more because whatever. But this is our first responders, our law enforcement officers. These are our veterans. These are our teachers who need help. Inclusion is for everyone. These are programs that really are trying to make a go at making sure that everyone gets the experience of life, because everyone deserves the experience of life. And supporting startup businesses and organizations. What's a better way to support a small business than utilize other small businesses? They start communicating, they start working together, things start happening. All right. Well, we are at the end of the 7th segment. 7 down, 4 to go. Whew. Coming up next, we've got all of our friends from Things Network who are going to start joining us. I'm actually going to get to walk away for a little bit, and here at 7 o'clock East, 5 o'clock Mountain, my lovely wife and Jan are going to take over, and they're going to entertain you, and I'm going to eat something and probably run around the block outside where it's only 5 degrees, because I'm getting pretty tired, but I need to wake up. But joining me next is going to be the owner and the founder of Things Network, Mr. Jeremy York. We will see you in about 3 minutes. All you got to do is look up, and we're going to be in the next segment. So thank you very much. And I'm going to play this just because I love the song and I haven't heard it but once today. So here we go. This is from my brother Theron.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home, out alone, to show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.